Okay, but hi, Bastian. What was your first computer?
Hi Adam. Yeah, nice to hear you. My first computer was 286, very very old architecture.
Mhm.
As a kid, and yeah, this was for my mother, but also for me, and I could play some games on it.
So this was the reason why you
So
got it, to play games.
maybe I would say,
So
or
actually,
maybe
so
yeah,
there were
maybe the
different
reason
plans.
why I use
So
it.
there were different ideas what your parent thought you need a computer for, and this was your strategy to get a computer properly, right?
Yeah, I would say yes. My mother just worked on it a little bit for her company, but it was also a private one, so I was able to play some games on it. Yeah.
What did your mother with the computer? So was it like Excel sheets or?
Yeah, or some calculation stuff. I did not really notice it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So and how you started programming then? So what was your first Hello World or your first script or whatever you did?
I started programming actually in school. It was quite late, I would say.
Okay.
I think it was ninth grade or something like that.
Uh-huh.
We started with QBasic,
Cool.
but at this time it was not really interesting for me. And later we got another a teacher,
Mhm.
and he started with Turbo Pascal.
Okay.
Turbo Pascal was a little bit more understandable for me, I would say.
Mhm.
And then, I was more interested in programming, and I started to code my it was more than a Hello World program. It was I would say command line game like Who Wants to Be Millionaire.
Aha.
So it was some input and output on the command line, and there was I had some tables. I would say today I would say some tables with question and answer, right question, wrong answers, right answer and wrong answers, and the command line asked me some question, and I have to answer that. And
So how you got the data? So you made the data up, or what was in the table?
It was kind of a present for my parents.
Mhm.
And my sister, she's 3 years younger than me.
Mhm.
Helped me to find the questions.
Mhm.
And find the answers and write them down. And I've read that in code,
Mhm.
some table stuff or what. And then they got it. I think it was a Christmas present, and then my parents could play also.
Oh, cool. So this was like classical outsourcing, what you did, right?
Yes, it was outsourcing, but in-house, I would say.
Yeah, in-house. It's very very wise because the domain knowledge remains in the company, right?
Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Questions about the games. Forgot to ask. To 86. Which games you like to play back then? What was your first game? This was the most interesting.
My absolutely first game was Prince of Persia.
Okay, I know that. It's like I remember this was like there were lots of stairs or ladders, so you have to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we buy the computer in a computer shop, and there was a Prince of Persia teaser in the corner.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I told my father I want to have that also, and he bought it for me, and so this was my first game.
And your favorite game?
My favorite game.
Yeah.
Back then, or
back then.
Back then on the 286, yes.
Okay.
Later on, I got a 486. I think it was Bundesliga Manager.
Oh, really?
Say.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the only no category of games which are really hated. So all the manager.
As a manager, yeah. So back then I was more soccer fan than today, but played it very much, I would say. Yes.
What you had to do as the manager? Could you actually play, or you had to manage the players?
No, just manage players, buy in or sell players.
It's like slavery, sounds to me.
Yeah, if you say so, yeah. But I also can manage the stadium. So buy some
chairs,
hot dog, hot dog stands or something like that. Yes.
Hey, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So like simulation, right? So like.
Yeah. So more or less a simulation.
And could the players become lazy or something like this, or?
Pardon?
Could the players, the football, soccer players, became lazy or?
Not lazy, but I would say it is
overweight or fat.
Shape or shape of their maybe
really. This is fun actually. Okay.
It's So they if they play not that much, so they have a very good shape. And if they played every time full time, then the shape goes down. So.
Okay, so they were overworked with
yes,
overtrained or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Okay, so I know I learned about the manager games. Okay, so funny. So and the Turbo Pascal thing and Who Becomes Millionaire, which is like question answer show. So this is like how you program that was if then, like if.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So something like that. I cannot remember really, but the details. It's about 25 years ago, not 20 years, something like that.
Yeah. Well, what I thought a lot, but I didn't program the game, is how to make computers intelligent back then as a kid. And for me was also if else. So if else, you could solve whatever you like, because if there's for every if an else, if you put all the if else's into a computer, then you will
more
win.
Complexity, right?
Yeah. So then it's just no intelligence in the computer, and yeah. Cool.
So the fascinating for today for me is how KI works. So it works quite different. I do not really know something about that.
This is AI. KI is German term, and AI is the exactly.
AI. So is the AI, but it's quite fascinating how that works today. So how computers learn something.
But fascinating and a little bit boring, right? Because I mean, this is fascinating, but at the end of the day, it's like an algorithm which does something, and right?
Yes, but I would say I learned a little bit AI when I see my nearly two-year-old son.
Okay.
Because he also learns. No? He learns, and I correct him maybe, and then he learns, and he gets the things better.
There's a supervised learning what you did, right? So
of course. No?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Okay, so you did outsourcing with your sister, and now you're using your son to learn about AI, right?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Okay, cool. So. The Turbo Pascal stuff. So it was not a table. It was a series of if-else statements. So you didn't use.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah. It was a collection of strings or something like that.
But still cool. Okay, so it could be fun. So you became bored. No, you didn't. Did your sister became bored? With writing down 500 question answers, or?
I think it were 50.
Okay.
50 question and with each 4 answers.
Mm-hmm.
And no, we did it in 1 weekend, so it was power working. Yeah. So I was not programming at
hackathon, was it, right?
Yes. It was not programming in 1 weekend, but writing down questions and correct and wrong answers in 1 weekend.
Yeah, cool. And what you did afterwards? I'm already curious about your next, programming project.
My next programming project was quite later, but at this time I decided to want to make more with computers. And back then I had a friend, Felix was his name, and Felix was a real good guy in computers, in hardware and software. He was in my class. And we did gaming together, but we did also working with some kind of hardware, also with software. And my real big problem in these days was I always had a very slow computer. So as I got my 486 computer, the Pentium 80 or Pentium 100 was the actual one.
Yeah.
So I could not really play all the games on the computer, on the old one, because it was so slow. And I had to play all the old DOS games, the disk operating system, the old system from I think Microsoft.
MS-DOS, right?
Yes.
For other reasons, I remember MS-DOS 5.2. Whether it is right or not, I don't know. But this was like MS-DOS 5 something.
Yeah. And the problem with DOS games on Windows back then was most of the games needed the first. They needed the first memory in the first 512 kilobytes.
Yeah.
And the problem with Windows was Windows is loading all the driver stuff when starting also in the first 500 kilobytes. And so I cannot start the DOS games because the first 512 kilobytes are gone, I would say. And so I had to find ways together with Felix to load all the drivers in the later phases of loading the Windows, using the auto-exec but maybe you know it,
and config
configsys, yes,
exactly.
Yes. So we were very much tuning on these files. So
wait a second, but what I remember, the problem was there was like extended memory. There was like a kind of
EMS and XMS, yes.
Yeah, and you had to load the stuff into the other memory, right? So
yes. Yeah, there were games that needed EMS, and there were games that needed XMS, and you cannot load together at one time, and so you have to restart your computer with EMS stuff or with XMS to play the searching game.
Okay.
It was quite complicated, not like today. But it was fun. So later on, I tried to upgrade my 486 computer. So then I learned something about the hardware side, also with Felix. And then we tried very much. Not all worked back then, but I learned much about them. And then I said I want to do some more with programming stuff and computer stuff. And after the army or Bundeswehr.
Where was you, Bundeswehr? What was your service? Bundeswehr was the army. The mandatory time in Germany where you go to army.
Yes.
So where you spend your time at the army?
It was in Torgelow and Eggesin.
Okay.
It was Panzerschützen and Panzergrenadiere.
Panzer was a tank,
Yeah, tank.
And the Panzer is like the tank. So you are inside a tank and you're shooting outside, and the Panzergrenadier. This is really hard to explain because it was German saying like it's not a tier, it is not a human, it's a Panzergrenadier, right?
Yes, I know this stuff. Yeah.
Das ist kein Mensch, das ist kein Tier, das ist ein Panzergrenadier. Das is the German saying, right?
Yes, dran drauf drüber, yeah.
Okay, so you were there. Okay, and you had something to do with computers at the army time, or?
Yes, we I was in a. I wasn't outside I was. I would say in Dienst. What's
Innendienst is like you are inside the
office. Oh, your office work.
Yeah, in the office,
like
right?
So the first 2 months was like any other guy in the army, shooting with guns and waking up early, going to bed late, showering,
drunk
hours. Yeah, maybe drunk.
Yeah.
Not every day.
Yeah.
And but I had the chance there to get to go on a civil Flash, it's Macromedia Flash course.
Okay.
So they paid it for me, and I had the chance to I had that was a kind of program. Nobody knows that, so nobody uses that. But I found out about it, and they paid like 5 days.
Okay.
It was about programming Macromedia Flash and ActionScript and all that stuff.
I think you are the only Panzergrenadier at the world who attended Macromedia Flash course, right?
Maybe it is like that, yes.
Okay. This is a great story, actually. Okay?
Yeah.
And you needed the Macromedia Flash in the office at the Bundeswehr or not?
No, I do not need it there. In the office, it was just
even better.
No, it's just boring paperwork.
Yeah. So you you learned Turbo Pascal, and then the next language was Macromedia Flash?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait a second. I did a short course also about JavaScript, but that was a real mistake by me. I wanted to study telematics. It's about it's in like informatics in near of Berlin.
Okay.
And I also had the confirmation to do that, but before I had to go to the army. And I read in the description of this study that I have to that I will program Java. So then I searched. Okay, what Java? Nice thing. I want to learn more about that. And there was a course about. And now it's a mistake, JavaScript.
Okay.
And I said, Java. It's JavaScript. It's a Java course. I want to do that.
Okay.
So I did. it. I think it was a 2-day course, JavaScript. Where we programmed. I would say it was a beer shop or something like that.
Okay.
In JavaScript, and then afterwards, I think it was the Macromedia Flash with 5 days. So this was quite better course, I would say.
So you attempted to go to the university before the army, and right, and then you were forced to attend the army stuff.
Yes.
This was exactly the same in my case. So I also applied for the study and then how to go to the army. And how long you were in the army? 12 months?
And it was 11 months.
Okay.
But it was 11 months and 2 weeks because 1 week before leaving, I hurt my knee very, very hard.
Okay.
So I was at the time I had to leave the army. I was in hospital.
Okay.
Cannot move, and so I had to extend my army stay, I would say.
Oh, so I think you are the only Panzergrenadier who spent 11 and a half months and not 12. You know, so you are very special. So I think you are already, like some. In a black book of the Bundeswehr of the German army, like special forces something, because programming skills, 2 weeks longer, and a very suspicious person,
Yes, I would say,
yeah, cool. And why you wanted to study Java? Why Java? I mean, you had a Turbo Pascal experience.
I did not want to study Java. I wanted to study telematics, and in telematics description, there was some words, some text about the study, and in the study you will program many languages, and but major language would be Java.
Okay. So, why telematics?
It was a kind of mix of informatics and a little bit business.
But why? Why you wanted to do this? Because you only knew Turbo Pascal and Who is Millionaire, and you play a lot. So you knew you would like programming, or why you wanted to study telematics?
Yeah, I know that I want to do some programming or study some programming stuff. Cool. I also attempt at other universities, but this was quite nice one, and so I did this then afterwards.
Cool. So after the army, you studied telematics? Yes,
for 5 years.
And you like that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, it was a bachelor master system, and not the bachelor master system which came from diploma. It was bachelor master, from the beginning, I would say. And so we had internship is a word, internships. And so we while we study all our stuff, we also could go to companies. And
but this was required, right? This was in the second and fourth, I think, semester, right?
No, in our case, it was in the bachelor case. It was in every semester. That was a special one.
Okay.
In this study, so you had 6 weeks, I would say, 6 or 8 weeks studies.
Okay.
And about 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe longer, because the holidays was afterwards. 2 or more weeks, internship in a company.
It's actually cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what's interests me right now? How helpful was the Macromedia in your JavaScript knowledge, learning Java then? So were you completely confused if you saw the Java C compiler and the main method?
Yeah, it was. Not really confused. It was kind of other stuff. Helpful was I would say the Flash course, because I think in the second or third semester we had a guy that taught also Macromedia Flash, so therefore it was quite helpful. Yeah, but JavaScript, I don't think that it was really helpful for other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, JavaScript is never
not helpful. Back then. Maybe today, but not back then.
So you can already know right now. You can say you knew 20 years ago that JavaScript is becoming the programming language of the future. And
As I had this JavaScript course while the army, the teacher there says JavaScript is dead, or quite something like that. Because back then it was 2001, I would say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2001. Mm-hmm. He said, nice to have you here. We're now programming JavaScript, a beer shop, but JavaScript is quite dead.
Exactly. So 2001, I also did lots of Java, and sometimes I had to do the front end, and we had to use JavaScript for effects like replacing images and on mouse over events or something like this. So I knew JavaScript, but I never admitted that I have any JavaScript knowledge, because it was very shameful. So back then, JavaScript was even worse than Visual Basic. So if you admitted Visual Basic was already you were suspicious. But if someone would find out that you have actually knowledge about JavaScript and Visual Basic, I think it would be hard to become some contracts. So
yes, I agree. Yes.
So the cool story is like 3-4 years ago, I had some JavaScript at a conference, and someone asked me, actually JavaScript? And they were really surprised that I know this. I was like, yeah, I know, but I never admitted actually. Cool. And so what you did, the first interesting project with Java, what interests me, and with which version do you start in Java? Was it JDK 1.1, 1.2, or what was it?
It's not the question which version I started with Java. I think I started with 1.4, I would say.
Okay.
My study was very practical, so we had many projects in there, and also programming projects, and so we had to imagine some situation and program some stuff. And my oldest Java I used, it was Java, I think 1.2 or 1.3, because I was programming a program for the Palm, was it for the PDA, and the PDAs
Palm Pilots.
Pilots. No, it wasn't a Palm, but it was I think it was a Windows PDA or something like that.
Okay.
And for the younger guys listen to us, PDA was
personal digital assistant.
Yeah, it was like a big smartphone with very old software.
But actually, I think it was Sharp, and the name was Zaurus.
Yes, Zaurus. Yeah, and I know this.
This phrase, was like a high-end PDA, so I was fascinated by this. I wanted to buy one, but I forgot to buy one, which was actually lucky accident. But you had the Zaurus?
I cannot remember really.
Okay.
Sorry, but I think it was it Windows CE or something like that?
I will have to find out. So I will put it to the show notes. But I know it run kind of Java, this Zaurus thing. And
but it was an older Java. It was an older Java than the actual one. The actual one was 1.4, but I wanted to.
Zaurus had Java. Linux. This was the thing.
Okay.
This was the special thing why I was so fascinated by Zaurus.
Too long ago, yes.
Yeah.
Too long ago.
And 2007 was over. There was no more Zaurus in 2007. And I know it because of Linux, and I don't know about Java, but everyone was fascinated by the Zaurus thing. Okay, cool. So you had to program Windows, as always. So you started your gaming, career with Windows and DOS, and now everything comes back, and now you have to program PDAs in Windows and Java.
Yes, yeah.
Cool. And what was your first interesting application? Would you like to talk about?
I think it was some program we did in a practical project. We did it with I think five guys, and it was I think it was an imaginated adventure park, and so a big area where some can. Make some searches. I would say Schnipseljagd. Schnipseljagd is the German word.
Okay.
But with PDAs. So the idea was you have a real big adventure park, and you have to search some stuff, and the PDA will assist you. And therefore, I programmed a program which shows some coordinates from GPS data.
Mm-hmm.
And I also programmed this stuff where you can chat. So there was a chance that several teams can can search against each other who finds this kind of capture the flag or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the team members had the chance to chat with each other, and the chat was implemented with XMPP protocol. It was a
Java.
It was a protocol for chat and presence system.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yes, the presence and chat. So XMPP we use a lot, but right now it's no more that popular. But it was very popular back then. And you remind me of two things. So first, this is the Pokemon game is similar, right? So you don't have to chase anyone. You have to chase small balls or whatever that is. Everyone was crazy about this. And back then, I knew an architect, and he spent the whole day thinking about geocaching. And what they did back then is, I never understood the concept. It's like someone hides in a box something, like a letter. And you will find the box and open it and replace the letter with something else. And he tried to explain me this. I'm going to say, okay, I mean, but why? And see, this is really nice and exciting. It's like, but why? And he couldn't explain. It's just that he searches the boxes. And it was the entire, I think this was even a web page or something with the you know, geocaching? You heard about that?
No, not really, no.
Hopefully.
I heard about the phrase, but not what it is in detail. So.
No, this is you know right now. So you have to know to find boxes which are hidden. They are hidden somewhere, and then you will find a letter inside, and then you are done basically. And
so you can put stuff in there from your own. So some chewing gum or something like that, or what?
This is what I didn't exactly got. So it seems like, okay. But I will have to do some research, because back then I remember it was at around 2004-05. It was very, very popular. And this guy, he worked at Sun Microsystems back then, and he was the chief architect of a project. And he spent the entire day thinking about this, and he tried to convince me that I also should hide something in a box. But I say, first, I don't have a box, and how to hide and why we should spend time. And he couldn't explain me this, but yeah. So your stuff is a little bit more interesting because you could move around and talk with other people, right? Via the PDA. Yeah. And it worked well?
Yeah, it worked well for a showcase, I would say. Okay. So we had a showcase with our teacher. It was okay. So it was not that much time. Mm-hmm. I think we had more or less 4 weeks, something like that. To do that stuff, and it worked for a showcase.
So what happened after university then? After the 5 years?
After the 5 years, I had a master of engineering then, and
What was your master thesis or whatever it's called?
My master thesis was it was about Java ME, micro edition. Okay. So it has not to do with microprofile, unfortunately, but it is for smart. I would say the ancestor of smartphones. So back then there was Java on nearly each phone. On Nokia. Nokia was the greatest one, and each of them had Java on it. And there was I would say a smaller Java package specification, and it was called Java ME.
Yes.
Maybe you know that. Of course you know it. Yeah. Yes. And my work was I had to program an app for a Nokia phone, which has to show digital TV on the screen of the mobile phone.
Okay.
And additionally, there was I think it was a protocol. Additionally, there was some advertised data. Mm-hmm. So when you watch you watch a music video on some channel, it was a DVB-H. Mm-hmm. It was digital terrestrial TV for mobiles. Mm-hmm. And when you watch a music video, the program or the app would load additional data for the music, and then the program can show some advertising. Maybe click here for buying this music or this song. Or maybe you see some IKEA advertising, and then the backload that data, said you can buy this furniture when you click here or something like that. So it was added to the TV stream.
Okay.
Yeah, and this was about my master thesis.
Here we go. So you invented Netflix back then.
Yes, I invented Netflix. Yes.
Cool.
No,
with a little bit of Amazon. You mean so you
yes.
you merged both? Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Maybe.
So, and what you did after the university? Have you chance? You switched from micro edition to something else. So what was your first job or?
And then I was attending over Germany wide, and then I was accepted in Hamburg, a company called Avato Mobile.
Okay.
And Avato Mobile back then made WAP portals.
WAP was like the wireless something
the wireless access protocol, application protocol, something like that.
It's a replacement of HTML, something like this, right?
A special replacement for HTML for mobile phones. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and they had online portals for mobile phones, and on these online portals you could download mobile games. Mm-hmm. These Java mobile games and ringtones. Yeah, ringtones.
Yeah, ringtones were big back then.
Yes, yeah. So, it was my first job, and there I learned about Struts.
1 second.
And
are the ringtones still a thing? Can you buy ringtones right now? And does it still matter, the ringtones?
I would say no, but
yeah,
maybe in other countries.
Because it was really huge, it's a whole ringtone.
Yes.
And I also completely ignored. And by the way, sometimes I had the right instinct. So what I completely avoided was the WAP thing, because I never got the idea and why it's useful, and it was not that usable. So I had the Nokia communicator. You remember Nokia communicator?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a nice phone. This was more a laptop than a phone. It was
a big one.
It was really like a brick. You could.
With a full QWERTZ or something like that.
Yeah, there was a keyboard. Completely with the antenna and with 4 buttons left and right. So this was a nice one. And the next thing, which I completely tried to avoid, and I managed to do this, was SOAP. So SOAP was the whistle and all that stuff, and the WAP. Yeah, completely. And this was actually the best, the best decision ever. So I didn't waste any time. And question to you: was WAP actually successful? Because for me it was like everyone talked about that, but no one used that. This was my impression back then.
I would maybe it was successful, but it was it left very, very fast. So there was HTML5 later on, which could scale. So the WAP stuff was not that.
So they were successful for a year and then disappeared or something like this.
Yes, something like that. It was quite hard to use WAP as a programmer, because every smartphone, mobile phone, mobile phone showed it in another way, and so you had to add very much complexity in the front end stuff to get these pictures right at the right place or something like that.
Mm-hmm. What I just remember is like even links. So I had to use my whatever it was. It was like the cursors, to choose something, and it was very, very slow. And I even had the fast phone with fast connection, was still too slow. Okay.
Well, the funny name for WAP was Wait and Pay.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So
it's not the official one. So, but
no, it's not official, of course. But it's a nice one. You can memorize it easier. So, and what you did at the company? So you developed the front ends or the back ends?
It was a front end. So we did it with Struts, and I think it was some JSP stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite old, also back then, and monolithic.
Really? So Struts,
yes.
I mean, back then, like
as Struts 1, I think it was Struts 1.1.
Yeah. And 2 was completely different. So the Struts 2 was complete refactoring.
Yeah, so the upgrade was quite hard on.
Yeah, it's like Angular 1 and 2, so similar upgrade.
Maybe, yeah. Okay. So history comes back again.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, always. So I always say, if you wait 10 years, you are in. So if you would just wait with the Struts, now you can sell Struts like server-side rendering.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But I'm not sure about the WAP, whether it will come again. No, it already comes. I forgot the technology. It's like Google already invented like, subset of web components. I forgot the name.
Okay.
And it could come again. Okay, so you spent a lot of time in the front end, so I didn't know that. And how long you stay at the company?
I stayed for 2 years there,
okay.
As you right said it, I spent time in front end, but in this 2 years, I think I wanted to do more back end and not front end. So front end was quite always the same boring stuff, and back end was more interesting stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I would say.
Okay, yeah. and you started to do backends then?
Afterwards, I changed the company after 2 years, and I got to a company named Tikis. Tikis is a company that gives insurance guys the opportunity to manage all their stuff in certain software.
Mm-hmm.
So I got there in the back office of Tikis, and there we had to there we were full stack developers, I would say today.
Mm-hmm.
So from database to the application to I think it was also Struts.
Okay.
So yeah,
Struts. Backend?
Struts. Backend was Oracle.
Okay.
Backend was Oracle and Java, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So backend is Oracle database.
But backend and frontend was quite the same application, so monolithic. So
in Struts actions, you use JDBC to access the Oracle database.
I think it was JDBC. Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. So it's not bad. I mean, monolithic, but who cares? It worked well.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, for certain applications, it would be still the best option to have something like Struts. If you do it right, JSP is just to render stuff and use Struts action. You could use injection even, to inject them. And in the Struts actions, you can access via JDBC the backend database, and you are basically done, right? I mean, why not?
Yeah. So you have also the transaction stuff on your own. So maybe it's for one it's good, for the other not really. But
what happened then? So you enjoyed, now it's for you like heaven. So you have your backend, so you enjoy your time. So what happened then?
Back then, I think it was 2011.
Okay.
I had a course with best practices for Java EE, and was taught by you.
By me?
Yes, in Hamburg. So you were in Hamburg and teach the course best practices, Java EE best practices or something like that.
Was it by Ose?
Yes, it was by Ose.
This is incredible, because before we started the show, I wanted to ask you where we actually met, because you knew me, we met the Java one, and it's like, I knew you actually before? It's like, I have no idea. And now it comes out. Okay, nice. So, and what happened then? So you attended my course, and what was the impression after my course? It's like, I mean...
It was, the impression was that Java EE is quite better than everybody says about.
Okay.
And you showed all the EJB 3.1 stuff, and so it was quite interesting for me, and then I started to refactor our application to use more Java EE stuff. And we had a GlassFish back then.
Okay.
So it was the old GlassFish 2.1 and later on the 3.1.
Yes.
And we used some more Java EE stuff. And
cool. Were you happy with the refactoring, or you said okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Every developer is happy with refactoring, I would say.
But it could be I impressed you with the course with EJBs, then you try to apply EJBs in the project, and everything went south, and you say there's lots of crap. No one gets what's happening. So you were happy with and how the application looked afterwards.
Yes, it was quite thinner.
Okay.
So quite leaner, I would say. And it worked quite well, I would say.
And you were still at the insurance company back then?
No. Then I changed also after about 3 or 3.5 years.
Okay.
To another company, and but that was a very short time because it worked not that well as they promised it to me. And afterwards, I changed 2013 to Otto.
Okay.
To Otto in Hamburg, Otto Versand, and
Otto is like Amazon, so similar, right? So.
Yes, it's quite great, quite big online shop in Germany and other European countries.
But it feels like Amazon, so you can go to Otto.de and you can order stuff, right? So it's
yes, of course, it's like it's like Amazon.
Yeah. Hey, cool. So 2013, and what you did at Otto then?
I'm already today at Otto, so quite longer time than before. And I started programming in PLSQL, doing very much SQL stuff, and later on some self-written persistence layer in Java.
Okay.
So it was an old one, but it was I think it was developed before Hibernate and all that stuff came up. So it was a self-written persistence layer.
Hey, by the way, at the OZE company, I did the workshop, and what I said once is like it is impossible to create your own persistence layer. So it is like. So this is what I usually do.
It is possible.
Yeah, I say I know. But what I usually say, it is impossible. What I mean by that, if I have no time, you shouldn't do this because you will spend way too much time to do it, and this is not worth doing it because you should focus on your problem, not persistence already solved, right? And and someone from an insurance company said then to me, it is very possible. We do it. I was like, okay, you cannot write your own, and they've wrote ORM, so Object Relational Manager, and I say. ORM, I mean, this is impossible. So we do it. And then I ask how many people are working on it? And they say, this is one department, and there are 5 developers full-time. So, okay, this is very possible, but you have more resources than the Hibernate team itself. So I think Hibernate right now is like managed by 2 teams, two guys, and was started with Gavin King. This was like one guy. And you have 5 developers, so you are competing actually with Hibernate. So you shouldn't focus then on selling insurances rather than selling ORM mappers. So this is your business. And I say, okay, this is what I mean. Okay. So and you wrote a persistence layer for Otto, right?
No. I worked with it.
You worked.
The developing was maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So Hibernate and Toplink or Eclipse Link was not there at that time. Maybe it was Talk.
Wait a second.
Before,
but this was 2015 or whatever, right? When you joined Otto.
It was 2013. But
13, okay.
As I came there, the persistence layer was written. It was quite written. Ready. So, but in 2013, this persistence layer was about 10 years or more, or 12 years old, or something like that.
Wow.
Okay. Yes. So this were my first tasks in writing SQLs, writing PL SQLs, and writing some Java stuff in self-written.
And then you moved to frontends again, right? You said never ever.
No. Okay. So later on, it came up that cross-functional teams or smaller teams and therefore also smaller software is a quite better fit to our business needs. And they started to say do this microservice stuff. So we had later on the chance to develop a quite new business business field for us in a microservice way. And it's also today. So we are running I think 2 years in production with our microservice software, and it is Java EE in the backend.
Cool. And what is it?
Yeah,
Payara.
It's Payara. Yes, yeah, it was Payara. So I had a very deep knowledge in GlassFish, therefore also in Payara. So as I tend to be the technical lead in this team. Cool. Then we thought about so what will be a good good technology to use, and then we said we will use Payara Java EE as API, and back then it was Oracle database.
And now it's Postgres.
Because now it's Postgres, yes.
Okay.
But back then it was Oracle because of it was a kind of money decision, because running a database on premise in our company was quite expensive, and therefore we used the Oracle database from our monolith application. But later on, as we migrated to AWS cloud, we ported all our stuff to the Postgres database.
Okay. And you are still happy with the decision with Java and Payara, or you say, okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still happy with that, yes.
And your team? I mean, you are the lead. You're always happy because you are leading. But your developers are still happy, or they say?
Yeah, I would say they're happy. Yeah. So it is like always. It is not working all very well. So you have some running issues sometimes. But I think we're quite stable right now, and also our migration worked quite, I would say, nearly seamless. And
to AWS, you mean, right?
Yes. So we had an internal database Oracle. Therefore, there we had our own schema with all our data. And and then we had there some Unix machines with Docker and Docker Swarm, and then we ported all our stuff to Postgres database and AWS Fargate, which is a kind of managed ECS instances or something. And it worked quite well.
Okay.
I'm happy with that decision, and I hope my team is also.
And what your services are doing, so roughly, from business perspective?
We're managing a kind of generic model for services which you can buy as a customer buy at the Otto shop. As an example, I would say maybe you buy an furniture at the auto shop. So, and then you say to yourself, I don't want to install this furniture. I want to have someone else to install that stuff. And then our system came in. So you're now able to add some service.
So upselling a little bit, right? So they offer you added value, like.
Yes, it's kind of added value. That we have it's a quite generic model, I would say. So we have very different added services. So it is about installation service for selling items, or long-term guarantees for your mobile phone or something like that, or maybe software download to your computer. And what is also quite exotic, it is about an barista experience package to your coffee machine. So you can, when you buy a coffee machine at Otto,
wow, you can buy you can buy a barista with the coffee machine.
Yes, yeah, you can rent it. Yes, you can rent it. Yeah. So
this
then
sounds like slavery again, I would say.
No, I don't think it's slavery, but yeah, you can buy it's called Kaffee Erlebnispaket, is a coffee experience package.
Yes.
And then a guy comes to your home. And
no kidding. I wanted to joke, but this is really, the guy will come to home and hey, cool,
come
this
to
nice.
home. You can say your friends come to me. There's a new coffee machine and also a barista this evening. And the guy comes to you, and then they make some experience on your coffee machine.
This is actually cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So so it seems like your services or your domain logic has to be quite flexible, to cover all these services,
yes.
because this could be like a real service personal. This could be added stuff or service. Okay. And so now it sounds like complicated logic. So how big are the wars? So like the microservices you are shipping?
The wars, we have some more than one microservice. So we started monolithic.
Yeah.
So we had one application which does all that stuff, and afterwards we had the experience. So it would be better to divide some code stuff to an extra application because of better continuous deployment. And so our biggest application is about 500 Ks, kilobyte.
Half a meg.
Yes, half a meg. So I think that the biggest file is the biggest file is the Swagger UI file.
So that's true. That's always the biggest. So sometimes if I edit Swagger, it's like, why the thing is so huge? And it's a Swagger. Okay, Swagger UI. The Swagger UI, not Swagger. This. Yeah.
So and then we divided some, or we divided some other code stuff to another application and another application, and so our ecosystem to our generic service stuff grows every time. Yeah.
Okay. So and what is the startup time? So if you deploy something to the Payara, so how long does it take until it is in your developer machines? So deployment times.
It depends. It depends, because with AWS Fargate you have
Fargate is different. But when you say a local machine, how fast does it boot or it deploy? So if you deploy the application, how long do you have to wait?
Yeah, maybe some 3 to 7 seconds or something like that.
Yeah,
I do not
exactly.
Yeah.
I always ask this because sometimes my clients answer so like 20 seconds. It's like, really? Yes. And what happens in 80 to 90% of all cases that they have virus scanner installed, and it scans, the JVM and the Payara or the application server.
Yeah.
And then, so if something is substantially longer than 10 seconds. It's usually something wrong with the computer. Okay, and the Fargate is slower because of I/O. But what's interests me is you also have the split. So you have two containers, like the base image, where you ship, once to Amazon, to the private Docker registry, and then just daily updates with the ThinWAR or what they are doing.
We have it is a base Payara image.
Exactly.
So where we do all our general Payara stuff for the applications, which all applications should use. Mm-hmm. And all these applications extend from with Docker from the space image. Mm-hmm. And then comes the special configuration stuff and the WAR file, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So you are pushing to the base image, which is probably 0.5 gigabyte or something like this. Every
This was 700 megs or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe. Every 3 months, or how often are you doing this?
Yeah. I think it's every 2 or 3 months. Yeah, but once you have a stable image, it's quite. It's not that often. So yeah.
And how often are you pushing the ThinWARs to production? Oh, yeah.
On high times, I would say it is about 5 to 10 times a day.
Okay. And then you're pushing the 500 kilobytes a day, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how fast is it? So now it's the interesting experience with the Amazon Fargate. So if you're pushing the thin image to production.
The special thing with Fargate, first of all, with Fargate you have the opportunity to say Fargate how many CPUs and megs you want to have, and more CPUs is costs more money, of course. So you have the chance to adjust your money there, and every time we scale a new Fargate instance up, the instance has to download the full image.
Exactly.
So so it is then about 700 and some more megs or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And how many transactions per second, whatever, do you have? Peak times, you know that?
No. So our metrics are business driven.
Okay.
There are some technical driven metrics like CPU of the database or CPU of our Fargate containers. But most of our metrics are business driven.
Okay. Which is reasonable. So is this a microprofile matrix, or what are you using?
Yes. So we use microprofile matrix. Yeah.
So it sounds like you are really happy with Jakarta, Payara, and microprofile for shipping microservices, right?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Currently, we are experimenting with OpenLiberty. Mm-hmm. Some months ago, there was some issues with Payara or special Payara implementation. Later on, we decided to have a look what other containers do in these cases, and then right now we're experimenting with OpenLiberty because it is I think it's quite famous right now.
It's very good, very popular, and it's just actually a fresh application server. Yeah, I also use that already, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
The Whitefly 19 is also fresh. It comes with full microprofile support. It's also interesting. But Whitefly you usually run with Hibernate. I think you are running Eclipse Link, and you can use it.
But Whitefly is from Red Hat, I would say, right?
Yes.
And Red Hat is currently pushing this Quarkus thing. Yeah. So I ask myself, is when they push Quarkus that much, is Whitefly then the future, or maybe it is not the future for Red Hat? Maybe they say Quarkus is a better thing then.
What I think what will happen is in one point of time. So now not pushing. I would say Quarkus is almost like next generation Whitefly. So at least my impression. Because if you do something with Quarkus and you look at the libs, this is actually whitefly libraries which are repackaged. So this is like rethinking how deployment works with Quarkus.
Yeah.
And but there are lots of my clients which are on JBoss AAP in production. So they will stick with JBoss AAP. And what I have also to say is that most of the fresh projects really like, or my project really like Quarkus. So if I mention Quarkus, they just trying it and loving it. So it's just like, it seems like interesting technology. And I would say this is not like they have to move away from whitefly, because whitefly and Quarkus are sharing a lot. All the infrastructure, like the Vertex and the Netties and Hibernate, they are available in both. So it's just like, they're Quarkus and whitefly more like a shell around all the microprofile and CDI. This is like, yeah. And Quarkus, there is a lot more to do because it optimizes, and whitefly is everything is already done, right? So it's not like they have a lot to do. So.
Yeah. So my question to you would be when you have your customers using Quarkus, is it a migration project or a greenfield project to use Quarkus?
Both, but in recent cases were migrations, and they were my startups. They had small applications, but they were complex but small. So in one case, actually today, I spent time with the startup. It's an actually interesting airport application, and it ran on Eclipse Link and Payara. And I just mentioned Quarkus and showed them Quarkus, and he migrated in half a day everything to Quarkus. But the application is actually bigger. This is not trivial one. I would say like probably 70 tables or something like this. So it's not like it's a mid-range application and spent probably 5 man-years or something like this. So it's not a trivial one. And this is more or less, mechanical migration. And I don't know whether you know my way of working with the boundary control entity and the dependency injection. If you do it this way, it is easygoing, because what I did always, I never use private fields for injection, and this is by lucky accident. Exactly this is what Quarkus expects to do. So it matches very well with my thinking. So if you created applications with the BCE in mind, it is easygoing actually.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I asked because I also tried, as we experimented with OpenLiberty, we also tried to experiment with Quarkus, but in a migrating way. Mm-hmm. So use the old application and transform it to a Quarkus application, and the big my big problem with Quarkus is there's no EJB. So, but we are using quite heavily EJBs. And there is there's the chance to use request scope and transactional or something like that to simulate some EJBs, but
So what you can do with Quarkus? So this is what we actually do, and I wanted to write a blog post about that, and I will. And so first, this week, I also migrated a project which I created for internal client, and they wanted to open source that, but they couldn't. So they asked me to open source the thing for them. And what this is actually is an interesting one. It is a web push gateway. So you can send REST requests, and it will reroute them to Google or Firefox gateways, and you can receive push notifications to your mobile application. And this gateway was written for OpenLiberty, and with Bouncy Castle and I think and JOS. There's two dependencies, and JOS is for the JSON signing process. So there's a little bit of cryptography going on. And because I had to rename the packages, it should be open source, or shouldn't be recognizable. And I said, if I do already this, I would just try to migrate to Quarkus. Why not? And I spent, I would say, half a day or 1 day. And it works on Quarkus right now without any problems. I don't think the native compilation works, but I don't care. So it is just, I was just curious whether it will work, and it works. And what I did then, I used at Stateless, And I wrote my own stereotype at boundary. And this boundary has transactional and request scoped. And I also introduced at control. And this control is default. So it's exactly what I did before, because all my controls didn't have any annotation. So it's just default. At control is a default scope. And it works. So I just mechanically replaced or at stateless with at boundary, and all my controls were naked, so no annotations. And then I just added the at control, and this was basically my migration. And if you have schedule, there is scheduled, and works a little bit differently, because I think EGB fires the first time and scheduled fires the next time. So this is a small difference. And there is a startup singleton in EGB, and with Quarkus, this is like startup event. So, but there is more or less mechanical migration from Quarkus to from Jakarta to Quarkus.
But there's no bean pooling in Quarkus, right?
Yeah, and this is the thing. So, there's no bean. But the cool story is the dependency injection it doesn't work with reflection. It is like pre-generated. So at deployment time, Quarkus already knows what is injected. So I don't expect a lot of performance difference between request scoped and EGB. So I think Quarkus should be as fast with request scoped than Whitefly with at stateless. And I also planned, to measure this, but at no time because of my clients. But what I will do, I will record a YouTube screencast with that, where I just will measure Whitefly, because it's fair. Whitefly is almost Quarkus. Whitefly 19 was at stateless, and Quarkus the same application with request scoped. In my eyes, it should. I think it will. Quarkus should be as fast as Whitefly is. Because why pooling is faster is because the dependency injection doesn't have to happen on every request, and in Quarkus there's no reflection at runtime, so there is no dependency injection at runtime, so it should be even faster, right?
But I'm quite surprised because I would say that in Quarkus this native compilation is I think it is a killer feature in many eyes of the developers. So I think that is the quite interesting part of Quarkus, and you said it does not matter to you, so it's quite surprising for me.
Because if you use the Quarkus in JVM mode, it already consumes a half of memory. So if you compare that, for instance, if Quarkus starts up and you compare Quarkus Java with any other Java framework, it is as lean as Tomcat.
Okay.
So it is, and this if I present to my clients, they are already very happy. And I always use this GraalVM as a marketing. You say, okay, look, I just cross-compile. You see 5 megs or 10 megs, and then no questions asked, and then we can focus on the real problem again, and not talk about memory consumption, because every 5 years I have to talk about something different. So at the beginning, 2001, the most important question was what IDE you are using. Then were logging frameworks, and then slow startup times, then complexity of Java EE, then DAOs and DTOs, and now memory, and memory actually, it doesn't matter. This interesting point, what you should measure, how much memory, how much money will you save, if you would cut the memory consumption a half. This would be interesting exercise to find out.
I think you can when you Google for AWS Fargate prices.
Yeah, but in your particular case, because you have a running serious application in production, which runs the e-commerce portal of Germany, I would say, and how much monthly you would roughly save by cutting the memory a half.
We are not running the e-commerce portal in Germany.
No, you're running edit services, right?
Yes.
But still, it's a serious application, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah.
This is
So, you when you Google for Fargate prices, you have it's per gig. It is per gig per hour. $0.004. So then you can say, if you run your application 365 days a year.
Do the math now for me.
Yeah. So it is $38 maybe for one meg. Yes. So if you want to have 1 meg more, so it's $38 a year. We'll say.
So $38 a year for 1 megabyte. Let's say we will need, how much gigabyte you need? You know that for your application?
I think the default value is about. It depends on the application. The big application is 4.
Yeah, so you're spending 4 gigs, so you need 4 gigabyte, which means we need 4,000 more. 4,000 multiplied by 40, right? Because you said 1 megabyte, $40 a year.
Yes.
So we need multiply
4 megs more. Yeah.
4,000.
So maybe 4 megs more. It is 160. But then you have to say it is not only 1 server. Yeah, it is maybe 4 server in production. Was
it gigabyte or megabyte? What you talk about?
It is a gigabyte.
Gigabyte, because megabyte would be too expensive. So gigabyte means we have 160 euros a year or a month.
A year. For 4 megs, yes. But then you have to say 4 servers in production, maybe 2 servers in dev environment, 2 servers in integration test environment.
Then let's say 40 gigs. Then we have 1,600 euros a year. What? Right?
Yes. Well, maybe, yeah.
So this is multiplied or divided by 12. 1,600, let's say, divided by 10. It's like 160 euro a month.
It's not much, yeah.
So this is I would come to your company. Let's say now let's introduce our great new technology, and you will save 80 euros a month.
Yeah.
And this is also my experience. So if you do the math, it only counts if you are on a Netflix. If you will have millions of such services or hundreds of such services, it is a huge difference. But if you are a small shop, so like for instance, all my startups, they don't care about the memory at all, because whether they spend 10 euros a month or 15 euros a month, this is like crazy talk. So if I say, okay, just to be aware, because most of the startups don't even know Java EE, many say it consumes memory, and they do the math. So what you're talking about is like, I don't care. It's very cheap. Okay, so interesting.
The also interesting question on Quarkus would be when the memory consumption is smaller, is the performance better?
The
in comparison to
is better in the JVM mode, and right now in the native mode a little bit worse. The startup performance is a lot better, but the runtime performance, I think it has to be better, because the main difference between Whitefly, Payara, and Quarkus is what Quarkus does. It actually deploys at build time. So whatever happens at runtime, then dynamic at runtime, it happens actually at build time. So at runtime, everything is more or less static. This is the whole trick.
I think that is the reason, because this is the reason why they are not 100% compatible with CI, right?
Absolutely. And with JAX-RS. So sometimes, you have to if you're exposing some classes, you have to say what's inside. So this is the absolute reason, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. So another how I actually how we met again after the course, which I absolutely forgot actually by Ose.
After the course,
the workshop.
After the course, after the course, we met the next time at Java 1. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
This was the crazy thing, because you've wrote me like an Twitter message. I get a lot of Twitter messages during Java 1. They're like, let's drink something. It's like, I will never drink something at Java 1. I need a sharp mind, because this is like vacations for me, and I would like to spend the entire day just listening to talks and get inspired. It's like there was no drinking. And then I was really tired, and I said, okay, I have to drink a coffee then. And I walked to the Blue Bottle coffee, which is great in San Francisco. And I met you, and I say, say you don't drinking at Java 1. It's like, yes, I'm drinking coffee, but I thought you would like to drink beer or whatever. It's like, no. And we met, at the Blue Bottle coffee as actually planned, right? So not planned, but this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to drink a coffee. And we had a nice chat about back then your microservices and which is actually
so in the
nice.
So in the end we drank together. So
yeah, a coffee.
We had a drink. Yes, a coffee drink.
Yeah, a coffee drink, but it was great. So you like coffee?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, also like
coffee,
a coffee.
Coffee is very important as for every developer should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So not to be a little bit dismissive, but if developers start drink tea, for me it is the first sign they get promoted soon. To management or CEOs or CTOs or whatever.
Okay. Then we have some problems in the next years because half of the team drinks tea and not coffee.
Yeah,
so
see?
Then
they will just disappear. They will get wooden tables, mahogany or whatever they get, and they say, okay, now I'm just doing Gantt charts and PowerPoints and Excel, and I don't care about the stupid Java stuff. And you will have to report to them. So this is the problem.
Yeah, but my idea is always program something. I'm not the guy that draws lines and rectangles or something like that. I have to code also as technical lead because a technical lead which does not code is not a good technical lead in my opinion because when you decide to use some technology, you have to get your hands on that stuff also.
Yeah. So, but to be more selfish perspective, which I can do because I'm just a freelancer, is not that boring. So if you code all the time, you are forced, to think about more sharply about what they're doing, and you can still, do something else, and you are probably also more respected among the developers if you code the whole time, because what usually happens if you stop coding is you will have to communicate with the developer somehow, and the longer you are not coding, the more hilarious your examples become. So there's some managers who talk to developers. We did the same in assembly on Motorola or whatever. There is the developers cannot imagine what she or he is talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then if you say, okay, look, this is what I tried. We can talk about that with a source code. This is a very efficient way to communicate from my perspective, and it's just nice if you can do this. And I know a lots of architects and leads who tried right now to code again because they say the whole dry architecture stuff is way too boring, and you really would like to do something else, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and what I thought is that what will happen in our podcast right now is that you will say the whole Java EE didn't work at all in Payara. The problem is right now you are actually happy what you are doing, and I am happy with what you are doing. So there is actually no discussion point except. I have the impression you are still a gamer, right? So you playing games?
I would say a casual gamer, not the pro gamer, but
what means teenager, pro gamer? Pro gamer, you can earn money?
Yes, not really earn money, but to be very good at gaming. I don't think that I'm very good at my games, but it makes fun. And
what is your favorite game?
But my currently favorite game is StarCraft 2 and Dawn of War 3. Both are
the next one, Thorn of War.
Dawn of War 3.
Dawn of War, okay. DAWN, right? Dawn.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is from the Warhammer universe. So this some fantasy game.
Okay.
And as a teenager, I played very much these real-time strategies, and today I do also. And
you got already, so you could place burgers in on the stadium. This was your first experience with the strategy.
Yeah, yes.
And this
but later on, it was
StarCraft is like comparable to that. So what you can do, you can manage starships, or what happens there?
It's a kind of managing your build, your base. You're building your base, some main building, some army building or something like that. Building up an army and attack your opponent or maybe the computer. in my case, it is often the computer because outside, when you play online against humans, I would say it is quite competitive there. So it is for a casual gamer quite hard to play online against humans because they are much better than you. Okay. So I play against the computer. Uh-huh. Yeah, building bases, building.
So because you can win, right? You can win against computer.
Yes, I can win against computer, but not against human. So this is.
So you saw the stupid AI, right? So it doesn't work actually. So now we see.
I need a stupid AI. So stupid and slow AI, and then I will win. Yes.
Cool. Now you know your slower CPU, right? So that you can think faster than your computer. So you could actually move out the AI from the game to your 486 computer again, and you can play, on your water cooled. What do we have now? AMD. How it's called? These super, the AMD processors. I don't know what Ryzen's. Okay.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So you have the Ryzen?
No. I have a i7.
Okay.
From Intel.
Okay. Cool.
It's a gaming laptop, but for me it's quite interesting to read about these on-demand gaming stuff.
Google Stadia, like this, right?
Yeah, Google Stadia or Nvidia. What is it?
This was like Nvidia's own gaming platform, and yeah.
Yeah. So you can rent for hours a gaming PC or something like that, and with a slow notebook and play all that stuff.
Yeah, I actually wanted to install a game once to see. Wait a second. So I was in Hamburg in a project as well, and there were lots of gamers.
Yes.
And there was a game for the company called Crytek. I forgot the name of the game. It was like you were a soldier or something, and in an alien, and you had to move around and shoot everywhere. And the Crytek and the game was like, back then the best possible graphics or whatever game. You know the company Crytek?
Yeah, I know it, yeah.
What is the game? You know the name of the game?
No.
Wait a second.
Maybe we should Google it.
Yeah, Crytek with K, I think.
No, it's with C, I would say.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Sometimes it is wrongly Crytek. Video game. Crytek engine, okay. And this was
Crysis or something like that?
Crysis, exactly.
Yes.
So,
okay, Crysis.
And they told me, okay, if you don't like gaming, you have to try Crysis. And I said, okay. And I installed Crysis, and it was like not a problem, Blu-ray, so I just installed everything. And then and 2 weeks later, we met, and they say, oh, how is it going? And I say, okay, I'm done. So I just, it's a whole game. It was very easy going, and it just worked. And it's like, this is impossible. It's like, why not? And I just explained exactly what I did. So there were the end, like this one of the monster, like end challenge or whatever you call it. And what I did, I look at the games like, okay, I would like to play through as quickly as possible. And what I did is I just ran. So I never shoot at anyone there. So I was the most peaceful gamer in history of Crysis. And I just ran. Sometimes I remember there was like a room, so you had to shoot something. But usually I just ran and tried to find, the whatever happens. I had to at the end you had to shoot. But it's like I remember a ship, and there was like something is flying, and I had to shoot a lot. But I explained them, and they say, you are incredible. So we thought it's impossible, or it's very hard, to finish the game, and you finish in the shortest amount of time. It's like, I mean, I finished, and then I stopped playing. But now I say, okay, now it's time now to install something again, and it's not that easy. So you have to install Steam and then download a lot of stuff. And I have what I would like to have is just to buy a Blu-ray, drop it to the computer, and half an hour later I can play. But this is not that easy anymore, right?
No, yeah.
But I'm absolutely not interested in it. So I really don't like to spend 3 hours to download something or fiddle around with gaming. I mean, it's even worse than setting up the entire programming environment. I would say it is easier to set up development machine than install a game right now.
But using I also use Steam. Using Steam, it is I think more comfortable than using all installers from a game. So when you have much games in your Steam library, you can say install all these 6 games. And then come back to you 2 hours later. Then all is installed.
Are they not big?
Yeah, maybe. It depends. So I think ego shooters like the
Crysis?
like Crysis will be very big, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And other games maybe not. So
the hot dog stuff is probably smaller, right?
Yeah, it's a quite story. Yeah, yes. So Bundesliga Manager is quite table, so quite a calculation or something like that.
Okay.
More or less.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, are you hiring or whatever? So, where people can find you, or what on the internet? Do you have a blog? Do you have a Twitter account? And do you need fresh developers because developers are moving? They are drinking already tea, so they will disappear one point of time. So you need a fresh one, or?
I think Otto always needs fresh developers, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You can Google that, like Otto jobs or jobs at Otto.
Could they actually work on your team then? What's the name of your team? So they can say, we really would like to ship 500 kilobyte wars to the cloud.
Our product is named A+.
A+, okay.
And A+, so it is Artikel, so it's A+, so adding something to the article.
A+.
So A+, yeah.
So they need the A team, A+, this is even better than the A team. So there's the A+ team at Otto, right?
Yeah, that's correct, yes. So, and currently we are not searching someone for our team, but in our backend we are searching for many developers because as I said before, Otto in its backend is currently changing all that monolithic stuff to microservice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore we need good developers. But I have to say that not all teams are using Java EE. Some using Spring.
Mm-hmm.
As I heard last week, some use Kotlin and Go.
Okay.
So it is quite diverse what you can do at Otto.
Maybe your Flash stuff will come up back. So the Macromedia is dead, but there will be no serverless Flash script.
The serverless Flash, it's a quite good idea.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and my last final word. So I did Java programming back then, and one client asked me, we need something really funky for the front end. And if you're a Java programmer, so you should understand it very quickly. And they gave me Macromedia Flash. I said, okay, I will properly understand what's going on. And I installed the software, and I try to find the source code. It's like what to do, and where to put the source code. And there was there was no place. For me it looked like like a progress bar with lots of. It was like like steps. And then it's like source code. I really need source code. If I cannot find the source code, I cannot be productive. And then I realized that you can put the source code in the keyframes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I started to code, but I was very slow. So for me it was really hard to understand why the hell is so complicated. I expect to write the source code in one place, but it was a completely different concept, right? So now I get it. But back then I was like completely confused with the Macromedia Flash.
Yeah. So in first line, the Macromedia Flash was more drag and drop.
Yeah.
And in second, then you can it is maybe kind of Java called ActionScript.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you can
type-safe JavaScript.
Yeah, and then you coded your JavaScript in your buttons and all that stuff. Yeah.
This was way later. So I started with the origin one. Where
okay, yeah.
It was 2003 or 2 or something like this. So very, very early. And the later one was Eclipse environment, more like Eclipse, with JavaScript, as I remember.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And and do you ever write a blog? Do you have a Twitter account or?
I have a Twitter account. And my Twitter nickname is Der Atzmann, which is which was my nearly my nickname as I came here to Hamburg. It was back then I was active player of American football, and
wow.
Then I went to the team here in Hamburg, to the Hamburg Pioneers, and as I grew up in the near of Berlin in Eberswalde in Brandenburg, so I had a quite slang of Berlin, I would say.
Okay.
And quite common nickname for a guy which has a Berlin accent is Atze.
Ah.
So
okay.
they named me Atze. And later on I searched for a nickname, and Atze was occupied. So I tried Atzmann. And Atzmann was also occupied, so I used the German word for the Atzmann, so it's der Atzmann.
Okay,
so
cool.
This is the description for my name.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we covered a lot, and because there is nothing more to improve in Otto's microservice architecture in your team, A+, all other teams working like crazy, but you have easy living because 10 years ago you introduced Java EE, right?
Yes, but there's always something to
of course you have to
do.
to reformat Java doc, or sometimes right. So
yes,
if it's or format. In worst possible case, you have to reformat some code, because there's something changed and something. Always something.
Yeah, something like that would be
Perfect. So thank you.
Thank you very much.